This is how my one on one client manifested an amazing, healthy relationship with her specific person. In this video, I will be sharing a story with you. And if you are someone who has been to the journey of manifestation and have struggled with the concept of manifesting love at some point in your life, then this story will amaze you. This will show you what working on yourself can do. This will show you how working on yourself can overcome past issues, but this will also give you a realistic idea on what self work truly means. Because in this story, I will be sharing how even if you are working on yourself, you're doing all these things correctly, you will still face troubles, and how sometimes your past will come up. And it will come up in a way for you to actually protect yourself, but also it will prevent you from being in the relationships that you want. So, we will talk about my client. We will first start by understanding where she started from, what her story was, and what we did to actually get out of this situation. So, I have been working with this person for a very long time. And these are not the first things, like the relationship is not the only thing that we have been working on. We have been trying to work on multiple topics in her life. She has not just manifested a relationship, she has manifested a job, not one, but two. And I will also explain what was the issue that she was facing in that too, because she faced similar issues in that job too. So let's talk about it. When this client met me, the reason that she came to work with me was because she was a part of a very unhealthy cycle. She had seen that I really talk about putting yourself first, putting yourself in a position to win, doing things that would help you, doing things that would help you succeed. And I also talked about boundaries and the concept in relation to self love. And she was a part of a very unhealthy relationship. She said that this relationship doesn't help her, but she does not have the courage to leave. And she wanted to work on her mindset so that she can actually get out of this relationship and she can start working on manifesting love in her life. The first thing that we did when she came to me was we started understanding what her definitions of things are. So, this is something I really like to do. If someone is actually stuck in a relationship or stuck in a pattern for very long periods of times, if they are open, I tell them that you need to tell me all the definitions of things that you have. And this, she was actually very open to do that. So she mentioned to me how she thinks that love is always supposed to be difficult. She mentioned to me how she feels men are never going to respect women. That was her core belief. Her core belief was men will never respect women. That is something that she had seen in her own life. And even being someone who was not in the society's sense, she was not very traditional as a person, she was very modern. She still saw those kind of relationships very regularly. So if you are someone who is facing a similar situation and you feel, how could this happen to me, this is how. Because the normal relationships that you see more often than not will include some sort of unhealthy patterns, or at least those are the relationships that you will see around yourself. So if you have seen relationships and because of that this is what your pattern is, even if you're quote unquote a modern person, don't be worried. This is very normal. This happens to a lot of people. After working on that, the first thing that we did is we started redefining her definitions. Now when we start redefining definitions, let me explain how we do that. So the best way to do that is to first write down what your definitions of things are. Now write down that this is the version A. So let's say her name is Ria. For this video, we will just call her Ria. That is not her real name. So let's say we first write down what are the beliefs about these topics that Ria A has. Now Ria A is her in this current moment. The version of her who is not able to actually have healthy relationships. The version of her who is constantly in unhealthy dynamics. And we wrote down the definitions of things based on Ria A's perspective. The next thing that we did is then we found out what are the things that she would want to believe in. So I gave her some templates, I gave her some activities to do, and we defined what Ria B's perspective should look like. These are things that she would want to believe in. These are things and these are perspectives that would help her be and have healthy relationships. Because, and this was the major reason why we did this, Ria B wouldn't be in this relationship that she was in right now. So after doing this and after honestly giving her a lot of courage, after focusing a lot on her self-concept, even basic affirmations like I feel blessed, I feel chosen were very far away from her nervous system. So just doing that really helped her gather the courage to get out of this relationship. And she did. This was our first win. This was the first thing that we did together that I'm really, really happy about. Now, after we got out of this, we started working on ourselves. So, from coming to a place from we where we were defining and redefining what beliefs she should have to redefining what actions she should do, how she should actually perceive herself, and how she should be focused on herself. We started working a lot on ourselves. And eventually, she met this guy. Now, this guy is not someone she had to chase. Neither this guy was someone that she had to go after. The more she worked on herself, the more this guy came to her. You must have also heard this, this phrase before, and I really, really love it. Is that if you truly want to catch a butterfly, you don't run after a butterfly. You become the person who is sitting, and the butterfly comes and sits on you. That is what her perspective was, and that was the thing that she was actually focused on. She was focused on herself. She was focused on her life. She was creating a life that she never had because her life only consisted of being a part of that relationship. She had foregone her career. She had stopped working on herself, her hobbies, her body, and everything. And those are the things that she started to work on. Now, this is where this person came into her life. This is where her issues also started. So, as this person came into her life, because she was constantly in a survival mode, she was constantly worried and she was constantly people pleasing. So, she was not necessarily just a people pleaser, she was a pleaser of the guy that she was involved in, because of which she was constantly over analyzing each and everything that this new person is doing. This caused two things. First, it caused a lot of anxiety, right? And then the second thing that it caused was an action that she used to do to protect herself so that she can analyze this guy's mood. Now, this was different every time. So, every time this guy used to do something and she used to feel that this is the wrong action or that this guy must be feeling bad or something, because she was constantly just habitual of analyzing the guy's mood, which is what she used to do in the relationship. She then used to try to protect herself by either doing everything that this guy wanted or she thought so, right? I know that this is complicated. I will explain this to you with an example. Or she used to protect herself by running away. So let's say she and this guy went out on a date and this guy didn't talk for, let's say, 20 minutes. Now, she would analyze this behavior without even knowing, and she would find conclusions. So she would feel, oh, he's not talking to me because I did this, or he's not talking to me because I did that. And all of these things became a part of her mindset, right? Now, a response to this either would be to talk continuously or to tell herself, I will not talk to this guy because he doesn't respect me, right? This is the dark side of self concept work that can sometimes come up. When you're coming from one extreme where you don't have boundaries, oftentimes you will go to the other extreme where all you will do is have boundaries. The key is to find a balance in the middle. The key is to be able to find out what boundaries to keep and what not to keep. Unfortunately, the more she went into that direction, this guy pulled away. And this was not just because of this. There were other instances. She used to push him away and she used to feel if he would come closer to her, that would mean that he likes her. Because this is what the previous guy used to do with her. Every time he used to push her away, she used to fight more to be with him. What she failed to take into account was that she had poor boundaries because of her self concept work, but the current guy that she was meeting didn't. She had poor boundaries because she felt not enough, but the current guy that she was involved with didn't. And a person coming from a healthy mindset wouldn't want to play these push and pull games. They would find that as a reason to walk away because they wouldn't be attracted to that. That is what happened with her. So this guy started pushing away. The first thing that we did is we recognized what was our fault to play in this. And honestly, there was no way we could have avoided it. The reason being because when you're coming from an unhealthy dynamic for a very long time, and then you start working on yourself, it's not really going to be an instant success. It will require a journey which is not going to be linear. It will require a thought process that will show you the back and forth that you will be involved in. And that was her concerns. And these were the issues that she had to work on. So, what we first did is we understood what our mistake was in this situation. And she sent a message to this person apologizing for the role that she had played into this. That was the only reaching out part that she did. After that, she started working on these patterns, We did an activity where I told her that you need to actually sit down and you need to imagine this guy being here in your life. This was a form of a revision that we did because in her situation, this was helpful. Because in her situation, we wanted to work on creating a better relationship and a dynamic with this person. And she used to sit and have these conversations with this guy, not so that she can create something, but because she wanted to learn how to handle these emotions as they come up in her body. Because as these emotions were coming up in her body, she was getting habitual to dealing with them. So let's say she used to sit and she used to imagine that her and this guy are out for dinner, but she is not going to analyze his mood, or she is going to have the urges to, but is not going to analyze his mood. These were things that were foreign for her body, and we were just trying to make her comfortable with the fact that these things will happen. And this was a form of repetition. After a while, without her doing anything, this guy came back. They started talking again. The relationship started very slowly. This guy also needed to develop the trust that she is going to be someone who's going to stick to her new patterns. And she proved it to herself and to him that she is going to be that person. Eventually, after a period of dating, both of them started feeling safe with the idea that this relationship will work out. Recently, she told me that this guy called her mom and called his mom, and they both met. This guy is planning to get both of them married, and their moms had a great conversation and a great direction of connection. She also told me that when this happened, her fears started to arise. She started to feel, what if this guy rejects me again? What if this guy hurts me again? But she worked on those urges. She worked on herself. And she has done that so much. And she's so prepared for anything that comes that even when I'm here and she can take help with me from any time because she's still a client of mine. She still tells me what she did. And then she asks me if I could have done something differently because she has started to trust herself. That is the biggest win. And that is how you can manifest a relationship from being in a no contact without any form of chasing. Because I know that I can tell you that while she was in no contact, was she not worried? Yes, she was absolutely worried. She thought that what if this person doesn't come? She was constantly worried about the fact that she's the one who has sabotaged her relationship. But in these times, what is really important is one, not to chase, not to try to create things. But secondly, to be sure that things are not going to change if you're going to constantly try to do that. Because the how is not going to be in your control. The how is not a part of your manifestation process. Neither is the when. You cannot try to make these things happen in a way that you think you can. Because it actually will always happen in the most natural way possible, which is what happened with her. Because in her situation, the more she worked on herself, the more she recognized that she wants to take the feminine role. And because she had already taken the action of apologizing, she was open to letting this guy come to her. So that is how she manifested being in a relationship and actually almost getting married, which is going to happen soon. She told me recently, and that news, that video will also come soon, by just working on herself, not focusing on the specific person and making sure that her focus remains her patterns. If you are in a similar situation, these are the things that you should be working on because I'm pretty sure they would help you just like they did to her. I will see you guys in the next video and please have a great day ahead.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you liked the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.